Okay, BOOZHOO, welcome back to the show. I'm sorry I was having some streaming issues. Welcome back to BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO. My name is Michael Lyons, and I'm here today with the host of the show, NANABOOZHOO. Why don't you come out here, brother? Is this gonna work? Okay, everything's A-okay. On my way to where the air is new. Alright. Just getting situated here. So, BOOZHOO, welcome back to the show. And yeah, Michael, we're streaming live. It's, what is it? Must be Friday, the 18th of December. Of the moon of the little spirit. Manadu Giza Soons. It is the little spirit moon, December. That's what we call this time of year in Ojibwe Moan. Oh, what? Good morning. Mino Giga Jeb. Let me see if I can. There we go. Oh, what is Jim done? And it's S. Oh, I'm so happy to see you, S. And BOOZHOO, Jim. You know, I have a friend who used to be married to I think it was John Dunn. Ann Dunn. Are you guys related? Ann Dunn is a storyteller. She's written some books about the Ojibwe folk stories. There was like grandmother's tales, I think was one. And she came up with a new one. I can never remember what that was called. Like the Sugar Bush or something. Tales from the Sugar Bush. But yeah, that's how you guys doing. The live stream. Michael's gonna come on and sing some songs, and then Natasha, did you want to come out later? Oh yeah, I'll come out. And then Natasha will come out. We're gonna talk about some Ojibwe language stuff. But to get started, Michael, why don't you come out here and talk to the folks for a little bit so we can adjust the camera more easily. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and before I go, I want to invite you to come to our New Year's Eve party. Our virtual New Year's Eve party. New Year's Eve at 11:30. We're gonna rock the town. We're gonna send out the old year and welcome in the new year together. And we'll have some music and some jokes and some Ojibwe language, cultural teachings, maybe even a traditional story from yours truly. Nah. All right, Michael, why don't you come on up here? Hello, everybody. I'm back. So, there's a million variables to doing the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast. As far as trying to keep me out of the shot and lighting issues and everything. So, the idea of doing a live stream with just puppets is actually... What I need is a cameraman. I need some help. I have a dream of like renting out a place and making it a proper studio, like TV studio, and like get a green screen and we could do like music videos and stuff like that. That's on its way sooner or later. First down, bait. Shalom. Hey, BOOZHOO. Where's Benjamin? Did he turn into a sleeping dog, eh? Benjamin. Yeah, Benjamin's fun. Let me go get Benjamin. You should do a GoFundMe for a studio. You know what? Actually, Genevieve, thank you. Good morning. I do have a GoFundMe campaign going. If anyone wants to contribute, there is a link, probably not in the description yet, but when I post this later, I'll have a link. Yeah, I won't do it now, but that's a great idea. GoFundMe is... I raised like $2,000 about 6 months ago in 2 days from my GoFundMe campaign. People just came out of the woodwork to support the show, and I couldn't believe it. But part of the show, for anyone who's new, is that we have a few res dogs around the studio. And one of them is a dog named Benjamin. Benjamin, would you like to say hello to the people? Yeah, here we go. Let's see. Whoops. Let's not do that. So, Benjamin, why don't you just come up on camera and introduce yourself? BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO. Benjamin Indigenous. Benjamin is my name. And, I don't know, what do you want me to say? I don't know, tell them where you're from. Well, Gazagasqua, Jamaica, Nindonjaba. Gazagasqua, Jamaica, Nindonjaba. I'm from, the Lake of the Leeches. I'm from Leech Lake in Donjaba is where I'm from. Listen up, kids, this is how you say it in Ojibwe Moan. So, tell me, Benjamin, do you like living on the reservation? Oh, you know, it's a dog's life. Get it? It's a dog's life. But yeah, it's all right. You know, I get to roam free. I don't have to have a license. I'm never on a leash. I get to scare everybody every time they get out of their cars. I mean, being a res dog is great. But yeah, so yeah, I'm Benjamin. Welcome to the show. If you tune in on New Year's Eve, I think I'm gonna help these guys sing. We're gonna do rock and roll all night and party every day. But the hottest band in the land, Kiss. All right, I'm gonna go. So giga wabba min, minawa hoa. All right. That's Benjamin. And let's see, who else do we have here? Anamosh is another dog. Anamosh and Benjamin are they're brothers. And Benjamin is probably the more goofy of the two. Anamosh is very serious. For some reason he has a southern accent. And he's from Minnesota too. I'm not sure where the southern accent came from. And he speaks a little Ojibwe. Benjamin, or Anamosh, would you like to... Ekadon Bojo, would you like to say hello? Why, yes, boss. I'd be honored to be on the show. I mean, quite frankly, I'd be very honored. Boozhoo, how you doing? Anamosh Nindijanakaz. Anamosh is my name. Anamosh means dog in Ojibwe. If there's anybody out there who doesn't speak the language, as the elders say. But yeah, so Anamosh is my name. What else did you want to know, boss? What do you do around here? Well, I like to sit over there, and I'm just sort of, an audience member. A lot of the time I offer support. Sometimes I operate the camera. I do work behind the scenes. And, I'll sing once in a while. I'll make appearances here and there. I don't know. Anything else? No, that's pretty good. All right, folks. Well, I just want to say thank you for watching the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast. If you'd like to support the show, there's a live feed, so there's no link anywhere. Maybe there is. There might be a link in the description. Anyway, we have a PayPal and a Patreon page. And we've also got some real fine merchandise on Teespring. You can order a t-shirt that says Hoa. Can you believe that? Hoa. Just like the real Indians say. All right, I better mahjong. I better go. Gigawaba min. Minawa. Hoa. And that was Anamosh. So, Genevieve likes that. Hungy. He's laughing. I have a res dog right beside me. Yeah. Res dogs. It was a special relationship between dogs and Native Americans, you know. That was the original defining cultural characteristics, difference between the Ojibwe people and the Dakota people. You know, back in the days of the grandfathers, the Dakota used to live in northern Minnesota. And as the story goes, there was a medicine man who had a dream, he had a vision, that the Great Spirit, Gitchimanadu, came to him and said, you know, it's time to migrate west. And I want you to go, you're going to set up a new land, a new home. And the medicine man said, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I'll load up all the people into canoes and go west. But he goes, well, how far should we go? And Gitchimanadu said, you'll know you're there when when you get to the place where food grows on the water. And the guy was like, no offense, but I think you mean where food grows in the water, you know, like fish. Gitchimanadu, hey, don't get smart. So they start canoeing, and they go for days and weeks. And they finally get to a place where there's wild rice, and it looks just like it's growing on the water. It looks like a hayfield on the water. And so the guy goes, oh, this must be what he meant. And so they get out of the boats, get on land, and problem is there's already people here. And it's the Dakota. And the Ojibwe were like, well, hey, you guys, how you doing? We're the Ojibwes. We have a different language. You know, a lot of differences in our culture. But one special difference is that we have these dogs. You know, in the winter, they pull us around on sleds. And in the summer, we just kind of, you know, hang out with them. They're our pets. They're like family members. And they hunt with us. You know, they're just brothers. And the Dakota were like, oh, yeah, we love dogs, too. We love them barbecued. We love them boiled. Sometimes we'll put them in a bun with mustard and relish. And the Ojibwe were like, wait, you eat your dogs? And so that's actually what started. It wasn't territory that started the warring between the Dakota and the Ojibwe. It was that dividing line of, you know, who loves dogs more. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm sort of kidding. I hope I'm not offending any Dakota people out there. Book of Exodus. Joseph wanted to see Benjamin of Israel. In the nights of the black coffee medicine, just before Moses had smashing results, Beit is the Hebrew letter B as in Benjamin. Interesting. First down the Beit. Benjamin. I just started watching a YouTube series that goes line by line through the Bible. There's these two guys who are both pretty cool. And they're like, just read these 6 lines, and then we're going to discuss it on a live stream. And they say, don't watch this live stream until you've read the, you know, from the Bible yourself. So I'm like, all right. And I've seen 2 videos because I've only gotten 12 lines into the Bible, you know. But it's to help you read from the beginning to the end. And one of the guys, the reason how I found it, he was at, I think his channel's called Truth Me Free or something. He's one of these near-death experience people. He died, flatlined in the hospital, heart stopped, and then had an amazing experience where he went to the other side and he met Jesus and he met angels and incredible stuff, and he came back completely, it's amazing stories. And so, understandably, he's like super into the Bible. And so, and he claims that, I don't know if he claims, but there's a lot of people who say that the Bible is actually a spiritual experience. When you read it itself, it reveals, like, there's magical stuff. I don't want to say magical, but, holy stuff that goes on. I think magical is like, kind of a loaded word now. Anyway, so, Mino Gigajub, good morning, everyone. Thank you for showing up to the BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO podcast. I need to get a different tuner. Breaking away the moments that make up a dull day. So my name is Michael Lyons, for anybody new to the show. I've been doing a podcast about Ojibwe language and culture for about 3 years. And I was talking about this a little bit yesterday, that I got started as a comic strip called OJIBWE. I was doing an Ojibwe word of the day comic strip and sharing it on Facebook. And then I would link that comic strip to my Amazon page, and people could buy like coloring books, or I've illustrated a few children's books that I've also written in Ojibwe or about Ojibwe stuff. And but then I started doing a puppet show version of the comic strip, where NANABOOZHOO would come out and teach an Ojibwe word of the day. And like the first shows were 2 minutes long. I think the second show was like 1 minute long, and it was him just bouncing around going, Niwi Saka I gotta go to the bathroom. And it got all this attention right away because, especially at the time, there just wasn't a whole lot of puppet show stuff going on, and people really liked it. So I started doing it, and then it just grew and took over my life. Now I'm doing more puppet stuff than I am comic strips. Let me try something here. I was earlier, I hope I don't screw this up. Here we go. If you're interested in ordering any of my books, I wonder if you guys can see this. On Amazon.com, whoops. On Amazon.com, you can order Ojibwe language books that I've illustrated, and these are some of the covers. Not that. It's a little bit funny. There's the coloring book. What's this one? Oh, and then Like Snow on Skin. If you become a member, not a member, what do I call this? Like Snow on Skin is a book. It's kind of an Ojibwe language reference guide and companion book to the show. But if you become a Patreon, when you sign up monthly, I'll send you a copy of this book. And it's got some cartoons and stuff in it. And it's not a dictionary by any means. It's only 50 pages long or something. But otherwise, all these books are available. Dog in My Ingun is a counting book that counts to 10 in Ojibwe. Dog speaks in English, and my Ingan speaks in Ojibwe. This is Little Cutie. Little Cutie is the story of a little teddy bear that goes on a vision quest. Little Cutie. And I actually used to have a teddy bear called Little Cutie when I was a kid. And so the story is basically he overhears the adults talking and suggesting that Aubrey, his human friend, is getting too old for stuffed animals. So he thinks he needs to move out. And the squirrel, OJIBWE, tells him, you should go on a vision quest. Go talk to the Great Spirit before you do anything rash. So he goes on a little walk or a quest through the woods. And he meets up with all these animals, give them advice and directions to the Great Spirit. When he finally meets the Great Spirit has like a curly ponytail and scruffy beard. And he's playing guitar. He looks just like me. And he learns a little lesson about identity and why his name, Little Cutie, is significant. BOOZHOO OJIBWE means hello, hello squirrel, and boom. Hello squirrel is all Ojibwe, and it's just him going through the woods saying, hello squirrel, hello butterfly, hello sun. And then he meets an alien named Steven. And Steven is, all right, let's get rid of some of these. And Steven is, this is the coloring book. Steven is an alien, here we go, who showed up a lot in my comic strips. I'm sorry, I'm kind of distracted with this. Boom. This is a collection of the some of the BOOZHOO OJIBWE comic strips that were on Facebook. And there's also the Little Cutie story in it. It's about a 100-page book. It's mostly just like an art book. There's just a lot of full-page comics that I drew. And that's Steven the alien. And let's get rid of that. And here's the statue of Bemidji. I don't know why I have that. You're asking me, will our love grow? Whoops. I don't know. So yeah, I'm sorry. Let me get back to the page. Off to work. Thanks for your own work. Thank you, Genevieve. Have a good day at work. Pretty women out walking with gorillas down my street. From my window I'm staring while my coffee grows cold. Look over there, there is a genie with her new boyfriend. She's married now or engaged or something, so I'm told. Is she really going out with him? Is she really gonna take him home tonight? Is she really going out with him? If my eyes don't deceive me, there's something going wrong around here. Around here. Joe Jackson. Not Michael Jackson's dad. Joe Jackson, the 80s pop singer, piano player. Actually guitar player too. That song takes kind of a dark turn. But if looks could kill, there's a man there who's marked down for death, 'cause I've had my fill. Listen, you, take your hands from her head. 'Cause there's a man there who's marked down for death. What's that mean? Did he hire someone to kill this guy who's dating the girl he likes? 'Cause I've had my fill. Down for death, 'cause I've had my fill. Listen, you, take your hands from her head. Take your hands from her head. He just busted in them having a romantic moment. Hands from her head. I get so mean around the scene. He gets so mean around the scene. Nice rhyme. Hey, 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 hey. That's why he just got tired of singing lyrics. Take your hands. I get so mean around the scene. Hey, 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 hey. Or did he just say that? Take your hands from her head. Hey, 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 hey. Or maybe it was just hey, and he's being musical. I don't know. But I've had my fill. Let's see, how many people are watching? 5 people? Is that right? Awesome. I kind of approach these live streams and really the videos as like a sort of an open mic spot, and I'm the only one who showed up for open mic night. And if there were only 5 people in the coffee house, well, that's enough of an audience. The staff doesn't count. They have to be there and they're getting paid. But so I know a lot of YouTubers, you know, most of the YouTubers I watch get those thousands of views immediately. But it'll be a good day for me when I get, you know, like 30. Actually, I think I get, they showed me one of those year-end stats, and I think I get like 150 views a day on YouTube. How about For What It's Worth BS? Is that a song request? Here's a song with some Ojibwe in it. Kimigwende Nana, do you remember? Kimigwende Nana means do you remember? Do I take requests? I take them all the time, but they usually just, please quit playing. You don't sound that good. Nah, just kidding. Yeah, I'll take a request. I'm not that well versed. Usually people ended up, I grew up in the mid to late 80s, so most of the songs that I know are like 80s rock songs. So, yeah, what would you like to hear? Heart of Gold. Don't know Heart of Gold. I tried to learn, somebody once told me I sounded like that guy. usually has a long build-up for this song, but there's kind of a payoff. Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Old man, look at my life, 24 and there's so much more. Live alone in a paradise that makes me think of two. Love lost at such a cost. Give me things that don't get lost, like a coin that won't get tossed, rolling home to you. He really gets high. That's where I need Natasha to sing. Old man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. And one look at my eyes. How would you sing that, Natasha? And one look in my eyes, and you can tell that's true. Would you come on here and say hello? Old man, look at my mind. I can't sing myself. Sorry, guys. All right, what am I doing? All right. We do this. So, Natasha. Here's a bit I like to do with the kids. So last year at this time, I was going to a lot of schools. So I was going to a lot of schools last year, Natasha. You know, it was like this. I'd come out on stage, and I'd be like, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Lyons, and I am a ventriloquist. And my name is Natasha. And today I'm going to talk about the art of what are you doing? I'm talking about ventriloquism. Because you see, children, a ventriloquist knows his mouth. Yeah, but you're doing that backwards. What do you mean? You're doing the ventriloquist thing backwards. A ventriloquist doesn't move his mouth when the other person is talking. You got it backwards. I got it backwards? Yeah, you got it totally backwards. You're not moving your lips when you're... he doesn't understand you guys. He's not really a ventriloquist. What would you call yourself? I would call myself probably a rock star cartoonist. Oh, right. Because you play songs and you draw cartoons and nobody... See, my whole thing with ventriloquism, like Jeff Dunham or whatever, it's a kind of a funny bit for about 30 seconds. But in the end, nobody is fooled by it. You know, we're all just looking right at their lips going, hey, wow, look at that. You can kind of not tell, you know. What? You know, could you get better at it? What if I just talk like this? You know, it's stupid. So I never wanted to be one of those guys. Ooh, 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 I feel my temperature rising. Yeah. You remind me of the Babe. What Babe? The Babe with the power. What power? The power of voodoo. Hoodoo. You do. Do what? Remind me of the Babe. I saw my baby crying hard as babes could cry. What could I do? Anyway, I'll talk to you later. I think I'm just going to give up on the whole trying to make it look real. I also need an upgrade in computer stuff because I can't see the stream and the comments at the same time. How about for what? Okay, hard to go, Neil Young. Anyway, so yeah, Neil Young. That's the only Neil Young song I ever learned. And I'm gonna try to do something here, you guys. Oh, look at that. All right, I think we're in business. Doggone it. So how are you guys doing? There's such a lag in my... This is not interesting to you. I swear I recognize your face, hauntingly familiar yet I can't seem to place it. But can I find a candle of thought? Yeah, I'm gonna learn it. Heart of Gold. I'm gonna put that on the list. There's a couple of songs I wanted to learn, and Heart of Gold is on there. Tune in next time, and maybe I'll know it by then. I'd like to go on record, I guess, now that there's been enough years have passed and the dust has settled, and a lot of the fighting, you know, the debates about this subject have kind of cooled. I'm going to go on the record saying that Pearl Jam is overrated. A lot of their songs, you know, they start out nice, but they're kind of boring. I would say Temple of the Dog is a better band. And frankly, I'm going to say in the long run, history will record that Hootie and the Blowfish that guy was a better singer and more of an artist than, what's his face from Pearl Jam? Eddie Vedder. But having said that, you ever hear this song? Yes, I understand every life must end. I don't know if he played it out of tune like I like to. Always late, lady. Brandy, you're always late, lady. Like... Brandy, you're always late, lady. You're always late. Brandy, she's always late lately. I heard Brandy was late again today, or they say, hey, Brandy's the late lady. She's on Indian time. She shows up way behind. She's on Indian time brandy. She's a late lady. I don't know if we just lost connection, but I'm gonna go. I think that might have been on my end, Brandy. My laptop is a PV. So if the stream, I guess I'll find out later if it works at all. But that was called Brandy. It was always on Indian time. So today is Ojibwe language lesson. Is Minawani Gozi. Minawani Gozi. Be happy. What does it take to Minawani Gozi? Minna, actually. Minna wana gozi. Minna wana gozi. What makes you happy? I sometimes wonder if happiness isn't a state that you kind of naturally go back to if you're just not being messed with. Like our natural states are happiness, but then, so a lot of stuff causes unhappiness, but if you get rid of the things that cause unhappiness, toxic relationships, what have you, then I think you're a lot better off. PV amp. Yeah, actually my PVs are amps. So it was sort of a joke. Actually, I do have a bumper sticker on my laptop that says PV. But it was just kind of one of those $300 Walmart things. And I keep thinking I should buy a new computer now so I can write it off my taxes next year. But I don't want to spend the money. Oh, it is 60 in 11 minutes. Yeah, me too. Be happy. Something makes me resistant to want to give advice. Because like, who am I to give anyone advice? It seems condescending or arrogant or something. I don't know if I'm speaking to an elder. But sometimes when I go to school visits, and when I used to work in schools, I did a lot of sort of armchair counseling that would eventually lead to, how to get over depression and anxiety. They're the main things that people who are unhappy are dealing with. Because even a person who's grieving the death of somebody, they aren't necessarily unhappy. It might be, it's like being sick. It's like your soul is sick. But you don't take it personally. You know that, I'm grieving this thing. That's not depression. Depression, as you probably know, is either your mind can't stop thinking about the past. It's just chewing over and analyzing and comparing and judging, trying to make sense, sometimes like even post-traumatic stress of whatever level. And then that is usually accompanied by anxiety, this constant fear and worry of the future. And you're being pulled in both directions, the past and the future, and you're never here. And happiness is the natural state of right now, because almost always the present is fine. When you're depressed, you can remember, and you're probably right, that there was a lot of things in your past that was really bad and really hard to get through, and you've been very lonely and everything. And the future, you never know. You might go to jail. you might be, deeply inconvenienced somehow and go broke, whatever. But even the guy in death row, a minute before or an hour before he's drug out there, in the present moment, he's fine. If he's not thinking about the future or the past. So, Minawani Gozi, to be happy, I think is, like the Buddhists say, to live in the present. But you get there, it's easy to say, but you can live in the present when you get rid of the stuff that's dragging you into the past or making you fear the future. And usually that's when you're not living the life that you want to be living. It's not even necessarily when you don't have enough money. It's when you're just doing what you hate to do, at least for me, every day. It'll make you, analyze the past and fear the future. And so 2020 for me hasn't been that bad because I've got to do what I wanted to do. I didn't have to work. Emily's got one crazy eye. She looks to the west, she looks to the sky. And don't ask her how she sees. And don't ask her what she believes. One of the songs from the Ishi album that we recorded in northern Minnesota at the late, great Gary Berger Studios. I was in a band called Ishi. And we recorded an album. And, what do you do with an album anymore? You can share it on Facebook. So I made some videos, with the guys. But, I wasn't going to send it to a record company. Yeah, so thank you for saying that I give great advice, Brandy. My show is definitely geared, it's Sesame Street. So it's for kids, and yet most of my viewers are adults. And surprisingly, a large number of men. When they did the breakdowns on YouTube of who's watching, it's middle-aged men. I guess... I don't know, I think maybe men are watching more YouTube videos than women in general, or for whatever reason. So if I do want to give advice, sometimes I talk about, okay, what do you do to get to do what you want to do? And so I'll visit schools, and I'm treated like a celebrity. Because I bring in my guitars and these puppets, and I have these books. And I give presentations, and I introduce myself as, well, I'm a cartoonist and a musician and a puppeteer. And I have a show kind of like Sesame Street, and I've been in rock bands, and I really love to draw, and I've drawn some children's books. And these are all kind of jobs that little kids can think, wow, that's cool. In fact, I've thought about it before, What would it take to be Elmo? And so it puts me in a position to say, okay, how do you get from where you're at to where I'm at? Whatever your dream is. And what I've learned in my middle-aged life is that achieving your childhood dreams is the path for liberating yourself from depression and anxiety and just spiritual, starvation or whatever. But it's there's a method to it that medicine people talk about, and sages and psychiatrists, or wise people anyway. And it has to do with using your gifts to address the needs of a group of people. There's a balance there. So I heard this from a wise teacher of mine named Ida Braveheart, also known as Ida Downwind, also known as Ida Cloud. But Ida was my she was just an elder friend of mine, like an auntie. And she taught a class at Leech Lake Tribal College called Native American Psychology or Philosophy or something. And it dealt with stuff like this. And I remember she drew this graph. She goes, first of all, you have to identify what are your gifts. What are you good at? What do you like doing? What has God gifted you with? And for kids, I have to tell them, a lot of you think you don't have any skills yet. You think, well, I want to be a singer, but I'm a terrible singer. Or, I really want to be a football player, but, that's not going to happen. I'm overweight and whatever. And I tell them, it's like, well, it's not, the Creator doesn't just give you talent or ability or whatever. He gives you the interest. He puts something in your heart, or he lights a fire in your belly that makes you so interested in something that you spend all your time thinking about it, pursuing it, practicing, and eventually you get good at the thing you love to do, or whatever you spend your time doing and focusing on. They call it manifestation. It'll manifest in your life. Problem is, we all get off track chasing money and trying to stay out of trouble, doing, following somebody else's dreams, because we're scared of following our purpose. But you have to find, so like in my case, I loved music and I loved drawing and I liked playing. And so I thought my path was to become a cartoonist or a musician, a rock star. And I had all these dreams, but I was also afraid to really go for it. I always needed a job. And so I thought, well, on my weekends and my evenings, maybe I can play in a band and I'll draw some comic strips I can share on Facebook. And maybe somehow, eventually, someday, something will happen where I can quit working 8 hours a day doing something I don't want to do because I need to survive. But then in the Indian psychology class, they talk about, well, take your gifts, your interests, what you love, find a way to apply that to a need that a group of people have, and make sure that group of people are people you care about. So identify what you love to do, identify who you love, identify what issue is going on with the people you love, and then identify how you can use your gifts to be of service somehow to those people. And if those 4 things line up, then Great Spirit will open doors and guide you in a certain direction. So in my case, for 20 years, I wrote songs and played in bands and drew comic books and comic strips and illustrated newspaper articles and magazine articles and stuff. And I was just a freelance artist, musician guy, kind of hustling. And, thanks, Brandy. And nobody cared. Couldn't, it couldn't, it was a big ball and chain of anonymity. Until a little voice told me, what if you did this in Ojibwe? Or what if you wrote a children's book or a coloring book that would teach kids a little Ojibwe language? And then I thought about, well, you know, what's up with those kids? And I really liked the kids I worked with, especially when I was working in Walker, Leech Lake kids from Onigum. There's just a whole group of these little elementary kids. And they were performers and really gregarious. You know, they weren't all shy and Indianish. They were loud and funny. And but they came from completely, you know, sort of, you know, I'm sorry to say it, but indifferent community. You know, they weren't getting any attention from mom. Dad's nowhere to be seen. Most of them being raised by grandma, who, you know. And they didn't know anything about, you know, their language or their history or culture, and nobody was teaching them. And so when I started using comics, cartoons, and just being myself, going to classes, teaching them, they thought they were learning how to draw. But I was also teaching them, you know, how to be an artist, you know. And then I would sing a song about boarding schools that I sang yesterday and teach a little bit about Ojibwe history. And pretty soon all these opportunities would open up, weird synchronicities, where I'd get invited to a conference to sing the song. Or, you know, school would order a whole bunch of my books. And that's when I started to realize, oh, okay, I'm on a path. And Indians are always talking about this, being on the right path, on the red road. You know, we're supposed to go in a certain direction. And if we find that path, then you'll know it. Everyone's on a certain path, but when you're on the wrong path, it's really difficult. There's always failures and trouble that comes with the wrong path. So that's what I tell kids anyway. Do what you love, but figure out a way to do it for people that you love. You know? So if all you... And it's tough because sometimes kids think they love playing video games. It's like, well, you might. Or do you love competition, or do you love shooting? You know, something. Maybe you're supposed to be a soldier. I don't know how you can possibly play Fortnite to help somebody, but you can have like school competitions, charity events, where you can do the fun thing you want and do it for a good cause, and then see what happens. See what kind of support comes out to help you and your buddies play, you know, whatever video game. I don't play video games. I don't know anything about them. But anyway, why am I talking about that? I'm driving. Best pull over to text you. Otherwise, it runs all together. You're on the path, all right. Thank you, Brandy Miigwech. So, one of the things I thought about talking about today, I'm from Bemidji in Donjaba. I mean, I'm actually from a small town about 25 miles south of here called LaPorte, Minnesota. And Bemidji is named after Shana Wishpung, a man who got the nickname Chief Bemidji. And as the story goes, Chief Bemidji, let me see if I can find. Chief Bemidji, here's the statue. All right. Bemidji Gamug, that's the lake behind him in Bemidji. And let's see, where else? I think I had a picture of him. Where is he? Oh, for the love of Pete. Okay, here we go. So Shena Wishkung, as the story goes, that when white people came up here the first time, they met this man. And they asked him, "What's your name?" And Shena Wishkung, not speaking English, thought they said, "What is this place called?" And so he said, "Oh, Bemidji Gamug." And the white people are like, "Hey, did you hear that? Chief Bemidji. This guy's a chief." And he was like, No, the lake is Bemidji." My guy's just like, "Wow, look, a real chief. Who knew that we would run across the chief of all the Indians, Chief Bemidji?" And so that's the story, is that Shena Wishkung got called by mistake Chief Bemidji, and he went with it because if you go to the over here, there's a cemetery. There's actually a gravestone of sorts. It's one of those things. I forget what they call it. Oh, you know what else? Boom. This is Nanaboozhoo. What's that thing the Washington Monument is? Anyway, where's my pretty face? Come on, feel the noise. Wow, I cannot do this and talk at the same time. I just realized. Okay, go up. So the Washington Monument is a big, creepy, pointy thing. They have a, it's a tombstone, I guess, but they have one that says Chief Bemidji, right over here, a few blocks from where I am, that suggests that Shena Wishkung is buried there. And for a gravestone, a tombstone, instead of writing his real name, oh, and by the way, in English, that means man who rattles, or the one who rattles. We think he must have had like a medicine rattle. It just said Chief Bemidji. And then there's just your standard run-of-the-mill Indian head nickel imprint. And there's no death date or birth date. And you just go, it's just so typical Indian history. Some dumb folk story. And I know his descendants. Donnie Hedberg is a descendant of Shena Wishkung. And he says that he's buried in Mission. I think he said it. In Cass Lake, which makes more sense. But just like the Columbus story, which is so stupid, the story of Chief Bemidji was that there was a misunderstanding between English speakers and the Anishinaabe. And that misunderstanding led to a misnaming that the Indian people just picked up and went with, just like the term Indian. The story goes, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue in search of a passage to India. Later they would call it the East Indies, even though they were sailing west. So that makes no sense. Like, it should have been called the West Indies. But who knows? Anyhow, he ends up in the Bahamas. He ends up Haiti or somewhere. Gets out and meets the natives and says, "Are we in India?" And they go, no, you're in Haiti. But the story says, no, you're in North America. And we're picturing, Ojibwe people. And just Columbus refused to be corrected or something. He said, "Come on, you guys are Indians." And so that was it. They decided, okay, well, for this one misunderstanding, we're just going to call ourselves and every other diverse group and tribe of native people, we're just going to be, from now on, Indians. And in about 500 years, we're going to get real touchy about that term. We're going to fight over terms like Native American, First Nations, First People, Indigenous. We're going to want to have some other term than Indian. But we're also not going to be that big of a deal if you actually learn the individual tribe names. We're also not going to explain what a tribe is. We're going to let people think that reservations are tribes. What tribe are you from? I am from the Red Lake tribe. You mean you're from the Red Lake band of Chippewa Indians? Well, what's a Chippewa? You know, an Ojibwe. You mean an Anishinaabe? Even the treaties are written with this misunderstanding. They call us the Chippewas. Chippewa. Because it sounds like Ojibwa. You know, in Net Lake, they dropped the vowels. Like down here, we call tobacco Asema. Some places call it Osema. In Net Lake, they just call it Sema. So I bet you they just called Ojibwe Jibwe. And maybe they pronounce it kind of Chipwe. And maybe it was like Chippeway or Chippewa. Chippewa. And so eventually they just kind of went, okay, well, anyway, here's a treaty with the, what do you call it, Chippewa? The Chippewa Indians. And they're like, okay, well, we can call ourselves Anishinaabe all day long, but when it comes time for dealing with treaties, we're the Chippewa. I don't know. So yeah, Bemidji. So I know that wasn't how it went down. And it makes any of the other so-called history that's been written down about Bemidji very suspect. It's like, well, we're not sure how that worked, but we know for a fact. Even the Paul Bunyan statue is sort of a mystery. There's very little written down. You know, it's our most famous statue in Minnesota. Is this Bemidji Paul Bunyan statue. If you research it, there's a little write-up that a guy in Park Rapids built it out of cement. How do you make a cement statue? And then pulled it over here for a winter carnival something. You know, there used to be more of a tourist industry, they say, back in the day than there is now, even though transportation is way easier now. So they were going to have a winter festival and thought, well, what's better to increase tourism in the winter than to build an enormous statue of a lumberjack and his blue ox babe. How about there's a Paul Bunyan statue in Bangor, Maine too. No kidding. Yeah, everything is Paul Bunyan here. Like the main street is called Paul Bunyan Avenue, and my electric company is Paul Bunyan Electric. There's Paul Bunyan Sub Shop, the Paul Bunyan Raceway, the Paul Bunyan. I mean, it's not even that interesting of a folk story. I'm a big old lumberjack. But it suggests something. There's a lot of, and it gets banned, taken down, I don't even want to talk about it. But there are videos about giants, a race of giants on YouTube, where they talk about evidence of a worldwide culture of advanced people who were giants, who were like 15 feet tall and would live hundreds of years. and may have been responsible for a lot of the current culture that for some reason has been kind of scrubbed from my memory, you know. Maybe Paul Bunyan is a story that lasted about a real person. Maybe he was real. You know, the word in Ojibwe for giant is masabe, and the word for Bigfoot is sabe. So is giant just another way of saying, or is Bigfoot just another way of saying giant? You know? I mean, that's not the word for big or feet, you know? So maybe they were just calling what we call Sasquatch a giant. Maybe giants were hairy. Maybe they're still alive in the woods. I don't know. They say Noah's kids were giants. Or some of his kids. Yeah, I've been to that Paul Bunyan amusement park in Brainerd. He's really big. He's sitting down on one knee. He's like doing the Black Lives Matter. He's got his hand down there asking for money. And I don't know if they still do it, but back in when I was a kid, your parents would like tell the guy your kids' names, and when you walk up there, his mouth would open, and he'd be like, "Hello, Michael, Scott, and Bridget Lyons of LaPorte, Minnesota," and his mouth would close. And now when I think back on it, like, wow, they just phoned it in. That guy wasn't even trying to be like the world's largest puppeteer. He could have pretended he could have improvised, you know. "What's your name, little boy?" But no, they did that lame kind of corporate, whatever. He says, "Hi, yeah." But still, I gotta say, my childhood was a dream that these kids today will never know. The wonderful experience of going to like a water park, going roller skating, bumper cars, swimming in the lake, going camping, playing in the woods with a bunch of kids by yourself, riding a bike without a helmet, using your imagination. All these things that are just commonplace, take it for granted childhood experiences. Now your kids are indoors with a mask on, trying to have some sort of social life and entertainment life and imagination life on a laptop or on their phone. And I walked by a school the other day and all the kids were wearing masks. And you know, you can't run the same if you can't breathe. How do you wrestle in the modern age when everyone's so afraid of germs? You know, this COVID thing has ruined the childhoods. You know, we didn't talk enough about how awesome it was the way we were raised. You know, I give baby boomers a lot of crap for being materialistic, for believing everything that they're told on TV. You know, for their, they were, a bunch of greasy hippies who didn't appreciate their elders. But they allowed their kids to have childhoods, to play flashlight tag in the dark at night, to let the kids, go trick-or-treating, You accepted a certain amount of risk with your kids. And it was way less than in the old days. In the old days, when these old farm families would have 21 kids, and there'd be like 6 deaths. It's like, well, we just kept having kids, and yeah, we lost little Junior there on the farm to a tractor accident or something. But my childhood was so great. Families were still together enough that you would have cousins and rituals like Halloween and Christmas and Easter and Little League stuff. It's pretty depressing when you think about when you compare what these kids' childhoods are going to be like. They're not going to have any scars, physical scars, but they're going to be like zombies. So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from cold steel rail, or a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? When we were kids, back in my day, we had Pink Floyd. Kids today in there, Billie Eilish. You guys. I miss my cousins throwing chickens at me and leaving me in the middle of the lake after being thrown out of the boat. Exactly. Really dangerous stuff. They just throw you over the boat. And that's how you learn to be a great swimmer. Throwing chickens at you. How about just the fact that so many kids were raised by just the older kids? You'd have like your oldest sister would be like 12, babysitting a pack of 10 other little kids, some just like 6, on gravel roads and jumping off bridges into rivers you didn't know how deep they were. It'd be like a thing of honor when you go back to school and be the first kid to have gone swimming. One year I went swimming in a river in March with my friend Patrick. And it was so cold, but we wanted to have bragging rights. Going, yep, we already went swimming. So we jumped in this freezing cold river and swam around. But as a result, you get an immune system. You can't buy an immune system from a vaccination. You get it from swimming in lakes and wrestling with your buddies and getting every disease when you were a kid and surviving it. And getting Lyons disease and walking it off. All right, well, has that been long enough? What time is it? 8:34? It's been about an hour and a half. I think I might call this a show. Didn't get much from the puppets. Maybe next time. I want to say miigwech ganawabieg. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And thanks for your comments, Jim, Brandy Marie, and anybody else who's been tuned in and future viewers. I want to say miigwech ganawabieg. Thank you for watching. BOOZHOO NANABOOZHOO, a podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I am Michael Lyons, and I will see you again. Gigawabamin, Minawa, Hoa.